Hello, good evening, and welcome to Eye on Port here on Metropolitan Television. Eye on Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GOIL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA, and our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all the transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show. We are streaming live on our social media pages, and on Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema, and on YouTube, we are streaming live at Eye on Port. Eye on Port. We shall be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is to send us your messages and comments ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177, 0559-019-177. And at the appropriate time, when pick signals from the production team that the time is right, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the project and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm. sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
You're welcome back. We are now going to take a look at some happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And indeed, in the course of the week, Meridian Port Services embarked on a tree planting exercise, and the target is to hit 1,001 trees. That's what they intend to plant. And indeed, a Chinese naval vessel also called the port of Tema, plus the fact that the Ghana Shippers Authority also held a forum for some stakeholders, particularly the export community, on Ghana's trade agreements. Let's take a look at these stories and more.
As part of efforts to accelerate economic growth and drive foreign exchange, the Ghana Shippers Authority has held a forum to abreast importers and exporters on some of the country's trade agreements and how they can position themselves to take advantage of it. The forum, which was under the theme, Facilitating Shipments under Ghana's Preferential Trade Agreements, saw various importers and exporters from different sectors participate. Trade data from the Integrated Customs Management Systems, ICOMS, have revealed that imports through the African Continental Free Trade Agreement have exceeded exports since the inception of the trade agreement in 2021. As a result, trade facilitation agencies have been advised to put in place programs and devise policies that would increase exports, as it is key to foreign exchange earnings and a driver of economic growth. It is on the back of this that the Ghana Shippers Authority held its Exporters Forum to interact with importers and exporters and expose them to some of Ghana's trade agreements they can take advantage of. Fred Asedu is the head of freight and logistics at the Ghana Shippers Authority.
A number of our exporters are not up to speed, with these available opportunities, and consequently, as Ghana Shippers Authority, which is mandated to promote and protect the interests of shippers, we thought that it's appropriate to create a forum, bring them all together, walk them through the available preferential treatments that are in the various agreements.
An officer with the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Abdul Aziz Sake, educated the shippers on the effective use of digital platforms to assist in trade facilitation and the avenues to lodge complaints and to receive real-time feedback.
Why rules of origin is paramount to us. We have to make sure that before we qualify you to enjoy the preference, you must meet all the criteria, all the rules that are spelled out in a specific FTA that you are applying for.
An officer with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Stephen Opoku, shared some important nuggets on some of Ghana's trade agreements.
Everybody is talking AFCFTA, but there are fundamental questions nobody is asking. Now we have EPA, we have UKTPA, we have AGOA. Now we've come to AFCFTA. Somebody will ask question, what's the difference? They are all FTAs, but there's big difference. But it is also not to suggest that one is important than the other, because the market dynamics will show.
Bilateral relations between Ghana and China have been enhanced with the visit of the 43rd Chinese Naval Escort Task Group to Ghana. The Escort Task Group, with their naval warships, were received at the port of Tema last Tuesday as part of diplomatic missions in Africa. Before calling Ghana, the Escort Task Group has been on mission since January 10th this year. This includes escort missions in the Gulf of Aden, where they evacuated Chinese nationals from Sudan following the conflict. With the visit to Ghana, both parties hope to strengthen political trust, cultural ties, and military cooperation between the two countries. The colorful ceremony brought together members of the armed forces, diplomats, and the Chinese community in Ghana. Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Lu Kon, said the port call aimed at deepening understanding and would further consolidate the Ghana-China friendship and expand cooperation.
China-Ghana relations are developing strongly. Political trust between our two countries is enhancing. Pragmatic cooperation is flourishing. Cultural ties are increasingly closer, and the military cooperation is making considerable progress. This year, our two armed forces have steered from the negative impact of the COVID-19 and resumed face-to-face exchanges.
Deputy Minister of Defense Kofi Amankwa-Menu said the visit was appropriate and timely as the government of Ghana is strategically deepening its relationship with its valued partners.
Enhancing existing partnership between China and Ghana under a broader defense cooperation is important in the face of the deteriorating security conditions within West African sub-region. Enhanced security cooperation in the maritime domain will also help address some of the maritime security threats. Contemporary threats to security such as terrorism, violent extremism, climate change, pandemics, epidemics can only be addressed through cooperation and collaboration with each other.
The United Nations Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC, has formally granted special consultative status to the Center for International Maritime Affairs Ghana, CIMAG. The granting of the consultative status to CIMAG followed ECOSOC's adoption of the recommendation of the Committee on Non-Governmental Organizations at its Coordination and Management meeting of June 2023. CIMAG status now entitles it to designate official representatives to the United Nations headquarters in New York and the United Nations offices in Geneva and Vienna. Speaking in an interview with Iron Port, the executive director of CIMAG, Albert Derek Fiatui, said the granting of the special consultative status will allow CIMAG to register for and participate in events, conferences and activities of the United Nations, as well as sit as observers at public meetings of the ECOSOC and its subsidiary bodies.
So when you are an NGO like CIMAG and you are granted this status, it puts you at that place where you have access to the United Nations workings itself and also the various organs of the United Nations. It's not something that should be taken lightly because a lot of people or organizations attempt and they are not able to get it.
He said CIMAG will continue to work assiduously with other agencies in promoting the ocean's role in sustainable development and protecting the marine environment.
The work we've been doing with the agency so far has been credible. The major work that we are interested in is in the promotion of the maritime sector, the blue economy, the oceans, and also the environment most especially. And so when we had meetings with the United Nations Environment Program, for instance, we made it clear to them that we are, one of our core areas is marine and coastal biodiversity protection. And that has to do with environmental protection. And they are very much interested and happy that we have proposals currently that we are pushing to engage in some coastal projects, protection projects.
The director of Port of Tema, Sandro Opoku, and the mayor of Tema, Yohane Amashite, have joined Meridian Port Services tree planting exercise around the port area. MPS is garnering support from stakeholders in the port industry to plant 1,001 trees as part of the Green Ghana project. The trees are being planted around the MPS Terminal 3 area as well as the Titanic Beach. Led by the Chief Executive Officer of MPS, Mohamed Samara, both the director of Port of Tema and the Tema mayor planted some trees together with staff of MPS. The mayor of Tema, Yohane Amashite, said the Tema Metropolitan Assembly intends to plant 500,000 trees in the port city of Tema, adding that the initiative taken by MPS is in the right direction.
Once we have more trees coming, what it means is that at least we have a forest cover, and we all know the effects that the industries and burning of fossil fuels have on the climate change. And once you have more trees being planted, then the carbon dioxide which is being produced into the atmosphere is taken by the trees, giving us oxygen. And by so doing, then the ecology becomes more balanced, and then Ghanaians become more happy because we have more trees coming.
He said some bylaws of the Assembly have been changed as part of measures to protect the environment.
For us at Assembly, we have changed some bylaw. Now, if we are going to build any property, by our bylaw, 25% of your land space should be green. Excellent. So if you come to us and we are rejecting your drawings, then you have to know that we are also taking a good initiative to ensure that the trees we mean is not just trees. You could plant flowers, you could plant anything green around your area. Then you are also contributing to the climate change issues that we have.
The director of Port of Tema, Sandro Poku, stressed the need for new coconut trees to be planted along the beaches to restore the green nature of the area.
And we all know that when the last tree dies, the last human being also dies. And we were just discussing when we were growing up, this whole place was green with coconut trees. And because of the environmental issues here, all of them have died. And some of them have been cut off. So this is a new initiative, and I commend MPS. And certainly we'll have to join you to plant new coconut trees for the future.
She commended MPS for the initiative and pledged the commitment of GPHA to support them in that regard.
It's important to keep the environment green and also to plant more trees to give shade. Now we are experiencing good weather. If we are going to continue to have good weather, it is because of the trees and the greens around us. And so thank you all for coming. I will also join you next year. Come next year, we'll plant more trees.
The CEO of MPS, Mohamed Samara, thanked stakeholders in the port and shipping industry for their collaborative efforts in ensuring that the target of planting the 1,001 trees is achieved.
We have some ship owners and agents, among us. We have the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority. We have some freight forwarders. We have some importers, exporters, and all of us led by our project team and our contractors, Decimoni. What we're doing is we're taking the initiative of His Excellency the President to declare the Ghana Green Week and Green Day.
All right, welcome back. Those were some stories in the port and shipping industry that took place in the course of last week. Indeed, we're now going for our word or phrase of the day. Remember, the word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. And today's word is grounding. Grounding.
Grounding refers to contact by a ship with the ground while the ship is moored or anchored as a result of the water level dropping or when approaching the coast as a result of a navigational error.
All right, so welcome back. We are now zooming into our discussion proper tonight. And tonight we're taking a look at the Regional Maritime University and some of the wonderful things students there are doing. Unknown to many of us, the students have been up to some big things in that particular institution. And they had the occasion to showcase what they've been up to during the Day of the Seafarer. That was last week. And so we took the opportunity to bring them into the studios to find out from them what these innovations are about. I count 10 of them that they've listed. That's among the many that they have done. And for us to take a look at the prospects of jobs for them as they go through that institution and complete and then get onto the job market. I count 10 here. Design and construction, that's the innovations that the students have come up with. 1, design and construction of a solar-powered boat. 2, design and construction of a dovetail life buoy. 3, redesign and fabrication of pyrolysis reactor. 4, design and construction of underwater ROV. We'll get to the details. We'll tell you what ROV means when we begin the discussion. 5, design and fabrication of an integrated solar convective dryer. 6, design and fabrication of a plastic shredder. 7, design and construction of a hydraulic lift. 8, design and construction of a prototype wind turbine to aid in teaching of wind energy system. 9, design and construction of monohull canoes for Volta Lake. And 10, design and construction of catamaran boat for Volta Lake. We'll take a look at these one after the other to tell us what actually they are and how they can help the system. So it begs the question, what can be done? Where can they garner support from? So that at some point we may say we want to have some mass production of these innovations that have been designed by the students of the Regional Maritime University, RMU. Let me go straight away and introduce my guests in the studios. Tonight we have Mr. George Obing, who is a graduate assistant at the RMU. He is to my extreme left. Good evening, George, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
And we have Alex Kojo Abayate, who is SRC president, student representative council president, Regional Maritime University, who's next right to me here, on my left. Alex, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And then we have also in the studios Joseph Yao Sabla, who is a student of the RMU. Along the line, we will be joined by Captain Francis Kwesi Maika, who is the harbour master for the port of Tema, to share some perspectives on this particular topic that we are discussing tonight. So I'll begin with you, Mr. Sabla, and find out from you as a student of the Regional Maritime University, what your assessment of maritime education in Ghana is, first of all.
Maritime itself has to do with anything relating to the sea. Looking at maritime education in Ghana, it had certain factors which contribute to that effect. The first I would like to talk about is the quality of education given in terms of maritime education.
Right.
Looking at the quality of education, Regional Maritime itself happens to be the only institution in the country. And the best in West Africa that deals with maritime education.
Absolutely.
Look at the courses offered. There we have nautical science as a course, marine engineering. Recently, they've introduced naval architecture. We have port and shipping administration, logistics and supply chain. Those are some of the courses that is being taught in the Regional Maritime University. Now, we have state-of-the-art bridge in simulation that mimics the bridge of a vessel at sea,
right?
Which is in Regional Maritime. It aids in studies of the nautical science students, which intends to go to sea. Then there is a lab that is being designed.
Can you draw your mic close to you a bit, Mr. Sadler? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is an engine lab that is being designed in the form of the engine room, which aids with the marine engineers in how they study and then mimic whatever happens on board the ship.
Right.
They have we have facilities also like deep sea welding that is state of the art in the Regional Maritime University. We have other also facilities that aid in delivering quality education in the school. The second has to do with infrastructure. Looking at the infrastructure in maritime, it is fairly good. That is what I will have to say. I mean, there is room for improvement.
Right.
We need more infrastructure to aid. Looking at it being the only institution in the country that deals with maritime education. The third has to do with industry relevance. That has to do with practical training and then internship.
Yeah.
GPHA has been very supportive when it comes to internship for Regional Maritime students. I mean, they get to experience firsthand practicals as in what they've been taught in school.
Right.
And so that is also a contributing factor to the maritime education in the country. The last one has to do with research and innovation. I mean, we need more research, like what you spoke about earlier on, the project work or research that we've been able to conduct. It also has to do with the maritime education.
Right.
Then employment opportunities. Regional Maritime has been able to partner with some shipping lines or some shipping companies that employ students after school.
Okay.
And one is BSM. And currently, I understand the school is negotiating with some shipping lines that will be able to employ students. And so, in all, maritime education is really doing better, is growing in Ghana over the period of years.
All right, thank you very much. Let me come to George Obing and find out from you. He mentioned some of the courses that you offer there at the RMU, port and shipping admin, nautical, all those ones. And one particular one that caught my attention is this naval architect course that he says has just been introduced. Yes, if I got you right. What is it about, and how is it on demand? Is it a popular thing that a course? That if I go there to study naval architecture, there's job ready market for me.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here today.
Absolutely.
And also, firstly, I'd like to extend my profound gratitude to the producers and also the host yourself.
Thank you.
And then to the head of department, Dr. Tema, and other staffs within the marine engineering department.
Right.
Okay, so before I go to the question.
Yes.
Ghana has a lot of, river bodies within our country. But we have not actually utilized it to that effect. Therefore, there is a demand for people to enroll in that very course, that is the naval architecture, to be able to build and also to be able to, come up with a lot of innovations, of which we have done some, and also to be able to utilize everything that we have in the country, especially on our Volta Lake. So the naval architecture basically has a wider range of, careers and opportunities, especially in Ghana here. We have a lot of rivers, but we have not really seen a lot of ships and also boats on them, especially the rivers that we have. And on Volta Lake, we have not really seen a lot of boats. So having more students within that very course will help us for them to also come out with designs, build and actually construct and design most of this small craft to help the society. So I believe that very course is going to help us, because that is the demand. Most of the courses most of the boats that you see here are all imported, most of them. So if we build that capacity here, it will help us to resolve most of our problems. And then I also like to say that, you see, most of these rivers, because they have not been utilized well, we see it being damaged by, the galamseys and all that, because we don't have river boats. We also don't have other aspects of, the ships or the small craft. So we having that on our lake will help, and therefore we need the capacity and the skills for people to come out with this such thing. So the naval architecture, the new course that we have introduced, is actually one of the courses within the Sub-Saharan Africa, and RMU is having the capability to train people and build boats for the country. Yes, so we are ready.
How long did it take you to come up with these innovations? Okay,
so myself, I started this for the past, 4 years now. We have been doing this, but this very year we started to come out with it and then showcase to the world what we are also capable of doing. So for this very one, it has been, a year, especially the catamaran and also the monohulls. Yes, we always hear of accidents happening on the Volta Lake. So it strikes us that as naval architects, what can I do to solve such problems? Yes, because it has been always we hear of such accidents on the lake. So it strikes me to come out with this innovation to solve the problem, so that with loss of life and then properties will also be reserved. So that's how come we came out with all these innovations, especially for the catamaran boat and the monohull, to solve the accident on the Volta Lake.
All right. Great. Let me come to Alex. And if you would want to walk us through some of these innovations, I mentioned them, the 10 of them. If you want to walk us through some of them and tell us what they're actually about.
Okay, thank you very much. First off, let me say a very big thank you to the producer once again, and then yourself and my viewers and listeners.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming to the innovations, I would want to start from where it's originating from. Necessity, they say, is the mother of inventions. We are moving towards a world which is gradually going towards climate change activities. We are looking at how best we can be able to curb societal problems with the very little things we have at our disposal. This is why students of Regional Maritime University pick particular topics that they do as thesis and then final year projects. For example, he made mention of the catamaran boat and monohull for the Volta Lake.
Yes.
This is to curb an industry problem. Students of Regional Maritime University are forced, or let me say, are given the room to explore what is going on in the global market. What is the need? What is the challenge? What we need on the outside world. Then we capitalize on it and then write on it. Some of them we come up with construction works and all that. So let me walk you through a couple of innovations that have come up.
Yes.
The very first one I will talk about is the very project I formed part in working on. That is the Dovetail Life Buoy. It is an innovation that was cultivated from an accident that has occurred at sea.
Okay.
So at sea, you realize that people go man overboard or let me say a sailor goes man overboard. That's how we normally call it. I mean, a sailor falls from the deck and then, yes, and he's in the sea. So when he's in the sea, what we traditionally or conventionally do is there's a ring life buoy, which is made of plastic, some of them fiber, and then a rope tied to it and thrown overboard to the individual in the sea.
Okay.
But
to hold and climb.
Exactly.
They can
You hold on it, and then you maintain up there for a while before rescue comes.
Okay, I think there was that video on the screen.
Yes, exactly.
Then that was it.
Exactly.
That's it, okay.
So yes, that's my project. Yeah.
Okay.
So we get to a situation where we have to move to the person in distress quickly. That is how come we came up with a module where you can be able to propel the life buoy to the individual who is in distress. Then the individual gets rescued. You get me? So this we are talking about, I would want to touch on something small, which is innovative works by students in universities.
Okay.
I would want us to focus on using the brains of these students to move forward. Why am I saying this? When I was looking at the accident that occurs at sea and all that, I came up Dolphin 1 by students of a university in Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
Students came up with it, and then it has been taken and upscaled, and is now on the market. So if we students of Regional Maritime University have come up with such innovations, I believe it can be upscaled and taken up to the market as well. That's one of them. Let's go to the wind turbine.
Turbine, yeah.
Or from there, I'll come to the ROV.
Okay.
The wind turbine is used to harness wind energy to produce electric energy. It is something that is known worldwide. But then, how are we implementing it? How are we using it? We are in a world which is moving towards...
Okay, so Kojo, because you are giving us details about these innovations that you have done, I want you to hold your breath. Let me go into the phone lines and engage Captain Kwesi Maika.
That's fine.
And then when we are done with him... Okay, I understand he's not on yet. Okay, that's fine. So you can continue.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the one particular course which is being taught in Regional Maritime University is renewable energy. Okay, so the world is moving towards decarbonization, zero carbon emission. How are we as a country embracing that? How are we as a people embracing that? That is how students have been able to come up with such an idea to build a wind turbine to harness that energy and then move towards the world's trend. So I'll move to the ROV.
Right. Yes.
We are exploring our waters. We are using voltaic transport.
What is ROV in the first place?
Okay, ROV is remote operated vessel.
Okay.
Yes, it's normally found offshore. Normally the FPSOs use them for installations underwater and all that. Yes.
All right, sure.
So this ROV is going to meet the demand on the market. The demand on the market currently, which is, let me say, we have FPSO, JQ4, FPSO, and the likes.
Yes.
If we can locally produce these ROVs from here, instead of importing them from outside the countries, we are actually engaging our local content.
Yeah.
And we are building a good base for our students. That's what I can talk about now. So,
okay. Who else would want to speak to some of the innovations? Okay, I'll come back to the studio, but let's go online and speak to Captain Francis Kojo Maika, who is the Harbour Master for the Port of Tema. Good evening, Captain, and thank you so much for joining us. If you can hear me, I just want to find out from you. You were at the Day of the Seafarer celebrations, and you saw some of the innovations that have come up. Through the students of the Regional Maritime University. I sit here, I counted 10 of them, and they are running us through what they really are. I just want to find out from you what you make of these things that you saw on this particular day.
Hi, okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Captain. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, good. So thank you for having me. In fact, you should have been there. These students are phenomenal. In fact, the items that I saw on display during this year's event, absolutely phenomenal, and coming from the brows of students is something that we need to applaud them. I'm listening in to them making their presentation, and it is an affirmation of the quality of students that we have, And for a country as Ghana, I think harnessing these energy, these intellectuals, these young chaps will really go a long way in us putting a mark on the country as a country with students capable of being innovative in the design. But I will just not want to just praise them, but will want to link it up to the need of the maritime industry to see the import of these things. I heard the SRC president or one of the other compatriots talking about the green energy concept. Yes, I remember recently Ghana Maritime Authority, in conjunction with the Danish Maritime Authority, had a very pleasant conference at the Labadi Hotel, and it was all to push up this agenda of reduction of the greenhouse gas emissions. Now, if you look at the array of things that have been worked out, and as I saw on display, the solar energy, the wind energy, harnessing all these things into, the needed, it becomes very imperative as a country to see that, look, we should not just be feeding on what people have done elsewhere, but to also exhibit that we can also roll out these same projects. Some of them are already being worked out and they're already in the industry, talking about solar, talking about the wind, etc. But when I see this guy working on the dovetail live buoy, this is very remarkable. This is outstanding. And I believe that the needed support is for the maritime administration, of course, coming from the Regional Maritime University to work it out, to give them all the needed support so that these works do not just end up on our shelves, but become a reality and part of our usage, even in our harbors, even so that Ghana becomes a hub for selling out these products. It will be very, very remarkable, at least, if not for the entirety of the world, the Gulf of Guinea for that matter. But again, you see, the other construction that needs to be worked out. You were making a reference to the Naval Act and its importance to the maritime industry. And I was glad the gentleman was talking more on the need to have these things on our water bodies. We are all very much aware of the incidents, the accidents, the drowning, the capsizing of boats, and it's all because the needed technology has not been rolled in. We have talked a lot on these things, but facilitating it for it to come into reality has been the challenge. I will want to talk about these naval acts being very, very important in the production of simple boats, the design of bridges for the waterfront at the Volta Lake, on the other water bodies, the rivers that we have started all over the country. But importantly, rolling them out in conjunction with a very famous facility that we have. I'm talking about the Tema shipyard and dry dock.
Yes.
That needs to be worked out, assiduously to ensure that it really comes home first. So once these works are complemented by the needed support financially, technological breakthroughs, I think we are good to go, and it will really place us on a map of a country that are very innovative. And then place RMU as a true citadel of education as far as maritime jurisprudence is concerned. So this would be my initial remarks.
Yes, Captain.
I'll be standing by unless you have something else to add.
Yes, I just want to find out from you. You mentioned in your submission that the Regional Maritime University and the Maritime Administration should lend them some support. And in my intro, I also indicated that one question that's begging for answers, is the fact that can they get that necessary support? Can they marshal that support to enable them produce for mass market?
Yeah. Okay, so that is what I refer to as a dedicated Marshall Plan. We cannot just always be allowing this kind of project to just end up on the shelf. I believe it is purely a matter of a practical policy being rolled out and being implemented at the highest level. We have the institutions. Okay, I know this thing is not something that is even just new to RMU, RMU, my alma mater, I mean, we all went there and there were a lot of things got rolled out. But over the period, we see that these things have never seen the light of day. And it is purely due to the absence of a Marshall Plan to see to the implementation of these ideas, of this project that eventually come out. These young men are brilliant and they're awesome. And I think to help them aspire to higher heights, need to have that projection, and that support financially in terms of a policy, whether at the educational level, at the governmental level, at the parliamentary. We want to hear discussions about these things, and for the country like Ghana, that stood out to be the origin of all the nautical matters in the Gulf of Guinea. We are still not yet coming out strongly enough to be able to complement what is being done in other countries. We always say that once you have the ocean, you have 50% of your wealth coming in. And the wealth of nation comes in with practical measures. We have a lot of nautical or maritime organizations in Ghana. It is not by any other imagination that the first president decided to have a group of nautical setups, and Nautical College happened to be one of them, to be able to have officers to man our shipping line. Shipping line is out, the state fishing is out, but we have the Ghana Navy, we have the ports, we have the Maritime Authority, and we have the wealth. And see a blend in activities coming in to mushroom or to bring up to the needed desire, the point that we will say that we have been able to produce in country and then we have served our country. But the placing of craft, so Naval Act comes in very, very complementary in these matters.
Awesome. All right. So just at a glance or off the top of your head, what would you say the impact of some of these innovations can be in the maritime industry, can have on the maritime industry, so to speak?
Yeah. So, for example, I heard they talk about the, if I'm trying to rack my thoughts, but about the design and construction of a dovetail life buoy.
Yes.
Okay. If it is to meet the, and you see, importantly, you will see that the projects were not just worked on the workshops. You see them being placed on the water, and then they have the remote control, all engineered. In fact, I remember engaging the boys at the stand or the students at the stand. You will see that passion is inbuilt, and then added on is the academia that had gone to support their quest to roll out these projects. It means that these prototypes have been tested. They've been able to function, as we saw from the video clip that we showed to us, and all that is required is for us to be able to have that complement of financial and technological framework of support. Once this is done, it could definitely be deployed, at least in the fishing community, at least on the water lakes, where you have people that go overboard, as the gentleman did indicated, and then at least we're able to save lives. That comes in very handy. When we talk about the fabrication of a plastic shredder, fine, okay, so that is just for the purpose. But the design and construction of the underwater ROV, which I think the SRC guy was trying to explain, that the remote operated vehicles, it will mean that where we need to carry out maritime investigations, where sometimes a vessel goes down, at the anchorage or somewhere on the water lake, and then instead of using the divers because of dangers that we might, we have to send out these ROVs to help. These ROVs definitely will have the cameras, will have the data that has to be captured and then sent above the waters for the information to be worked on. So it comes in handy in all aspects of our water bodies as far as protecting life and personnel is concerned.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Captain. We would come back to you later for your closing submissions and also find out from you if all these things we can benefit from all these things. It means that we would have to ensure that our marine resources are sustained. And so come and find out from you how we can ensure the sustainability of our oceans and what your final submissions would be. Thank you very much. Captain Francis Kwesi Micah is the Harbour Master for the Port of Tema. Let me come into the studios and go straight back to Alex, who was, briefing us on these innovations that they have come up with. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I proceed, I would like to make a profound statement that I am a Christian.
Right.
When you read the Bible, at a point where Jesus Christ and his disciples, they were in debt, he told his disciple Peter to get a hook, go to the sea, catch a fish, and there was gold in the mouth.
Right.
This is to tell us that as a country, let us go back to the sea. There's economic impact in whatever innovations that we are doing.
Right.
I'll come to that.
Right.
Let's look at when Captain Michael mentioned how Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the late, instituted the original the Ghana Nautical College in 1958.
Yeah.
After a hard time gaining freedom, what is the first step to take? It is economic recovery. And in economic recovery, one of the very main institutions that were established was the Ghana Nautical College. That should tell us how impactful the Regional Maritime University is going to be like. Now let's look at another important aspect, which is the ROV. I would like to dive more deeper into the ROV. The ROV is meant to go to places where human beings cannot, under the water. These students came up with, they are actually in my class.
Yes.
We share the same class. And I would like to commend my group members before I continue. That's James Arthur, and then Ivan, and then Wilson. We are the ones who came up with the dovetail lifeboat. Now, coming back to the ROV.
I'm sure they are watching, so they've heard.
Yes, definitely. So, coming back to the ROV, let's take FPS Ujie Ekufuor.
Right.
If we have to employ people from China to, I'm just using it figuratively, people from China to come up with their apparatus and other stuff, just to be able to detect a fault under
a vessel.
Yeah. You saw how Evergreen went aground some time back,
Yes.
and then they were trying to find out what exactly caused the grounding and all that, as we use today's word, grounding. ROV will just move there within seconds. Instead of a human being wearing all the vest, the gas, and everything, ROV will get there, can be able to even fix things.
Wow.
Do you get me? So it reduces cost. It reduces the risk on human life. Saves time. And you know, time is definitely money.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the Volta Lake Transport, the monohull that is being constructed by students. We know traffic congestion in our part of the country, which is Accra. Let's take someone who works in Akosombo, and then the person wants to actually work somewhere in Tema. The person stays in Akosombo, works in Tema. The easiest means of transport will be water.
Right.
But we will go by traffic, and then we'll go by land, then we are stuck in traffic in Afienya. You know Afienya Fariwa traffic. We'll stay there for like 2-3 hours in one traffic. But we can use less than 30 minutes
to commute,
to come down. Coming from the northern region, there's supposed to be water transport from up there, because the lake travels from up the scale down to wherever we are today.
Right.
So I believe these innovations can go a long way. Let's take the Ghana Navy, for example. Quite recently, the Chief of Naval Staff made mention of how we are getting some vessels from outside the country to add up to our fleet as a country.
Yes.
At the just ended Ghana's Blue Economy Summit. I would want to say that construction of these vessels home base, one, expands our security. Because I would want to steer cautiously when it comes to security.
Yes.
You would see a boat being built in China, brought here to Ghana. Then, when there's something very, very peculiar that has to be fixed on it, we have to go back to China and get it fixed. But here lies the case: we are using the resources we have in our country. Naval architecture, as has always been said, is very prominent. Actually, the reason why I'm Regional Maritime University is I wanted to study naval architecture as a course, BSc, but it's only studied outside the country. So I said, if that's the case, then let me study marine engineering, then take it up scale, then I'll do my MSc in naval architecture. That's how come I'm in Regional Maritime University. So it is demanding. The world is moving towards the oceans. Recently, MSc launched one of their huge cruise vessels. We can design it here. Yeah. We have the human resource. We have the men to do it. So I believe we should be able to come together as one. One of the people who likes to walk the talk that I would want to commend and then call on will be the Director General for Ghana Maritime Authority. Okay. That's Dr. Thomas Alonsi. Yes. He does marvelously well because I remember meeting Dr. Thomas Alonsi in 2021 when he said they are going to work on the Volta Lake, the Dambai, and all this. We remove debris and all that to prevent accidents. Right. They actually moved towards it and then they worked towards it. But then, how are we going to utilize this water more? These monohull boats, if you can project the monohull for me, I would be glad. So that viewers will see how it's like. It's just for mainly this. Okay. It's mainly for transport. It is not for any further ups and downs. It's just to transport people from one point to the other. And it is safer.
That's George there.
Yes, that's
in a mini smoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope you get me.
Yes.
I think at this point I'll leave this particular discussion to George to.
Yeah. Let me come to. Well, I'll come to George, but let me come to Sabla and find out from him. He mentioned the Volta Lake and what we can do to get people faster through the. But let me find out from you. There've been reported accidents on the Volta Lake. Sometimes it pops up, it comes up, and it's been a recurring thing. Once in a while it happens and all that. I want to find out what your take is with respect to these accidents that occur there and what we can do, something like a mitigating factor to ensure that we stop the trend.
Okay, Alex Aberate happens to mention one contributing factor to accidents in the Volta Lake that has to do with debris in the water. Because that is being dealt with gradually by
I know GMA. At some point the Ghana Maritime Authority was involved in removing tree stumps from there and that kind of thing.
That is also a contributing factor to the cause of accidents in the Volta Lake. The other contributing factor has to do with lack of proper training and certification of boat operators. These boat operators lack proper training. In the maritime industry, there is absolutely zero tolerance for error. Because the least error you do, the accident and the impact is very huge. And so there is zero tolerance for error. And so this boat operator needs to have training, proper training and certification to be able to move the boat.
Right.
The second one has to do with overloading of the boat. Okay. There was an accident reported where I think 8 pupils lost their life.
Yeah, sure.
And then that was as a result of overloading. Of
Is it the one we told the kid was the one in charge of the boat or something? Okay.
Yes. You realize that a boat which is designed for to transport 15 individuals will have to take about 50, 60. Yeah. And that education needs to be done by the regulating body, that is GMA. So that is also a contributing factor.
Right.
The other one has to do with the poor maintenance of the vessel. There's something in the maritime space we call seaworthiness. Should a vessel be deemed as seaworthy, that means that vessel is supposed that vessel can be safely navigated from one port to another port without causing damage to the vessel, causing damage to the cargo, causing damage to the individual and the environment. Most of these boats lack maintenances. And so the GMA as a regulation body should be able to look at that aspect to keep the vessels maintained. Then the other one has to do with navigational errors.
Okay. Because
most of them lack training, you realize that they do certain navigational errors which leads to capsizing. And because they don't, the whole thing has to do with training.
Right.
I mean, if you're not well equipped with what you are doing, you will end up having problems. And so you realize that there's one accident in the Volta Lake that has to do with 18 people that traveled for funeral and then they came back. That accident was as a cause of a high tide. You realize that if you don't know how to calculate the tides or know how to counter the tide, you realize that the boat will be able to capsize.
Right.
And then the last one I'd like to talk about is the wearing of life jackets. If those individuals were to be wearing life jackets, you realize that they could have at least...
The survival rate would have been higher.
The survival rate could have been very high. And then if the survival rate is not high, you realize that there should be a rescue team that is readily available to be able to assist in situations like that. So basically, that is the take I have on the Volta Lake accidents and then how it can be averted.
Okay. All right. So let me come to George and find out from you what actually inspired these innovations and how difficult was it, putting them together? Because 10 is no mean an achievement.
Yes.
I must say kudos.
So what inspired the various project work was industrial challenge. Saying we have all these projects were towards, how do you call it, resolving problems within our industry.
Yes.
So for instance, the voter leak, we have challenges there. I'll categorize the problems there into three. That is the safety, the operational, and also the design aspects of the how do you call it, of the problems there. So the design aspect is what we have tackled, and also the safety aspect of what is happening there. The design aspect is, if I want to go into the integrity of, how do you call it, this current canoes that we have there, as time goes by, if we still use that one, we are going to lose a lot of lives there, because the design is not, the stability of that boat there are not really, how do you call it, how do I even put it, they don't match standards, because initially the whole concept of designing or the shipping industry started from artwork, where people start to come out with trees, and then they will dig inside, and then it will, but as times went by, things have changed. So we actually have to change the way we do our things on the voter lake. We have been using wood for quite a number of, how do you call it, years now.
Yeah.
And then this wood, initially they were getting a thicker diameter to do the carving and all that. But now they don't have the thickness of that very wood. So what they do is they do planking. So anytime this wood hits something, it breaks into two, and then lives are lost. So we really need to look at it by going for another material, that is fiber, because considering the nature, we can't go in for steel or aluminum. So it means that we have to gear towards using fiber. So we saw the need for us coming out with new ideas by resolving that. And because of the stability issue of our boat, we need to come out with a hull that can really solve that problem. Also, in terms of the safety aspect, another group came out with live buoy, so that in case there's man overboard, these people can go in and then rescue easily. Because on this the canoes that we have around, they don't even have life jackets. Now that we talk of navigational aids, because as in communication to the shore as to what is happening, no one knows until they get there safely.
Absolutely.
So if they don't get there, what happens on the way? So all these things were factored in the design. So it always inspired us more to, how do you call it, check the various problems we have in the society and also work towards that. And then coming to the challenges that we faced, financial constraint, as students coming out this project, going out there to seek funding is sometimes very difficult. I remember my professional career as a naval architect. So I tried having a master's in naval architecture. So I had the admission, went around trying to seek for sponsorship. I remember I went to one ministry, and then when the woman saw the admission letter and everything, they just told me that in Ghana here, we don't do that here. So I should find elsewhere and then go and seek for the sponsorship. Even it saddened my heart for, from such place, because like they don't see the need for us having that very course or that particular subject studied outside and coming to help our society. So I believe all the courses that we are doing at the original Maritime University needs to be looked at, and then NGOs and other government agencies can come in and support us. From the various, I know that when you go outside there, some of the companies goes to the various institutions, give them funding to come out with a research topic relating to their section. So the maritime industry in Ghana, we can do it, where the various stakeholders can come to us, and then they give us, maybe this is the area we want to have a research done. We can do it for them, especially the water. We can have a lot of works done there and other places. The last time I heard the government went to South Africa to order some boats. This is not the first. We have built a real-time boat in this country. Yes, we have the capacities to do that.
I know some other companies also into fiber boats. Recently, they showcased it. I saw it.
Yeah, so we've done that. We've done that as well. The RMU in collaboration. When you even go, you see the RMU in collaboration with Ghana Navy. We train some officers And we actually built a boat in Ghana here. So we are capable of doing all that here. Yeah, it's not something that we can't do. Yeah, so we are asking the general public to come to our aid, and then we can come out with, how do you call it, innovative ideas and then projects to solve the problems. When you go to our shops, we have a lot of trash there. When we have boats, we have pleasure boats, we can solve that because everyone will go there to observe, and when they get it, they will not be throwing things. Yes. So we really need funding to support these various, and the projects that we have seen so far, they're student funded. Themselves. Yes, the students have to pay for it. I don't know whether some of the people they had, but so far as to my, I know that especially the 2 boats that we designed, and then we maneuver with the fiber glass. Yes, the
so
students.
It means these 10 innovations were funded by the students.
Yes, they were
no
funded.
Support from external sources.
No, they were funded. So if it happens that way, it will demoralize the student to even go in for more challenging project topics, because some project topics you need more. You have to look at the cost. So at a point in time, they have to be running here and there, trying to seek for sponsorship and all that. Sometimes it delays the project, the project work. So I believe that when we get more people coming in to partner with us, we can come out with nice ideas, innovations to solve our own problems, without we waiting for external people to come and resolve for us. As we are here, we can do that.
Awesome. All right, so with respect to the life jackets issue, my producer just sent me a story which was done today. It says teachers along the Volta Lake receives 251 life jackets from NAT, and that's from News Center. I'm sure that's from Elvis Daku, the editor of the Finance newspaper. It says the headquarters of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, is worried about continuous sporadic reports of teachers who get drowned in various parts of the Volta Lake without life jackets while en route to teach in their various schools. Alarmed at the frequency of these incidents, the leadership of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, has presented 251 life jackets to teachers stationed in communities along the Volta Lake in the Oti region. And according to the General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa, allocation of the life jacket will benefit teachers in about 36 community basic schools in the Karachi East and West districts of the region. So,
so
good news,
but we also need to tackle that. They can contact us. We can get them a very nice passenger boat. So we can solve that problem right from the design aspect. So there's the safety aspect of it, of which is good. So we can also come out with, when we come to the design aspect, we can come out with a very nice, mono or catamaran for the teachers and the students to use. Yes, so we can have that done.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I think here we would take a break. This is Ion Port here on Metro TV. That is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Tonight we're discussing some innovations by students of the Regional Maritime University. We've listed 10 of them, and they are giving us some perspectives and insights and what the job prospects are like, once you enroll in that institution. Remember, we also have Captain Francis Kwesi-Maika, who also came and shed some light on some of these things and how we're supposed to, progress from this stage that these students have done these wonderful jobs. And you just had the last submission. It takes a lot of resources and money, and the students have been able to do this on their own, strength. And so it makes sense that we appeal to public-spirited individuals and organizations to lend a hand as and when they come to you seeking support or sponsorship to come about or bring about some of these innovations so that we can solve national problems. And so I'll go for a quick break. When we return, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion, and we'll also continue the discussion. Please stay with us.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Go Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Go Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Go Super XP Run 95 gives you a smooth driving experience that is less vibrations. Fill up with Go Super XP Run 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back, and I've been told by the production team that we can activate the phone lines. The number to dial is 02055283530, 02055283530. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. I think some messages have come through. Let me take this one, which is from Benji in Tema. He says, hello, I'm Benji from Tema. What Joseph Sabla is saying is very true. The government should build more infrastructure at the Maritime so that more students can join to help build Ghana. Okay, so let me come to you, Joe, and find out. Oh, you just finished?
Yes.
Okay, so let me come to Alex and find out from you. We just spoke about the issue of, what do we call it, finance, and how you've not been able to draw the necessary sponsorship from, you know, organizations that you're supposed you could easily, you know, get that from. Is it that they don't believe in the durability or authenticity of your innovations, or what do you think is a challenge? Why you're not able to attract sponsorship?
Okay, so talking of sponsorship, I would say such innovative works are novel, and for someone to just believe in you to sponsor with huge amounts of money. It will take a lot of convincing and also government policy. Talking of government policy, one of the policies I would want to commend the Ministry of Transport and the Ghana Maritime Authority for is the cabotage law. The cabotage law, which helps seafarers and students of Regional Maritime University. That notwithstanding, I would want to talk about policies that can support such innovative.
Policies that can support such innovative,
Yes.
innovative, things or innovations. Okay, so let's get Alex. I understand we have Alex from Tema. Stephen from Tema. Yes. So let's get Stephen, and then we'll get back to you, and then you continue from where you left off. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Please shoot, Stephen. Yes.
Yes, please. I would want to just make a little contribution to the program. It's very insightful. I think today is my first time that I'm watching fully.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, thank you.
To contribute, I would like to say, currently, for some years now, GFTC has been doing something to support petroleum engineers, or not only petroleum engineers, but people that have programs that is in line with their mandates. They give them scholarships to be able to pursue some courses that you come back. Some don't even come back to help the nation, but as a way of improving people that we would have to support the petroleum agenda.
Yeah.
What can the maritime industry in Ghana do? For me, I would say I don't know what they are doing currently as in sponsorships. But if that is not in place, I would encourage that they pick up this. This is a very brilliant project. In fact, several that have been showcased by these students. It's a very brilliant thing that if we give them the needed aid, there is one thing that they are currently saying, which is not full for them to say, that they have the men, we have the men. It's true, we have up to a limited resource, but they need to be fine-tuned. How can this be done?
Right.
We can send some people outside to learn what is the best practice in the industry, just as was done at Atuabo, Ghana Gas.
Yes.
After a year of sending our people outside, our men, they came back to take over the industry.
Absolutely.
When you go to Ghana Gas, not even a single white man.
The expatriates
That
have
is
been
the
sent
same
away.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes, that we can do for our people.
Right.
Let us push them, give them the support they require. For example, the graduate assistants, mentioning looking for aid to go study some course. These are things that should be handy when it comes to promoting the agenda of we becoming self-reliant in the future to come. My literary contribution from here.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Very, very lucid there. We're grateful to you. Remember, you can also call. The number to dial is 02055283853, and you can contribute to the discussion. So let me come back to you, Alex. You were telling us about policies that can support such innovations. Please, Flo.
Speaking my mind, because when we take the Regional Maritime University, we are under the Ministry of Transport.
Yes.
So if Mr. George Obin here, wanting to further his studies in Masters in Naval Architecture, would have to go through the mail with someone who is also going to study probably marketing outside the country, and to all gain government scholarship to do those studies. It will be difficult on his part.
Yeah.
Let's take someone who is an undergraduate student reading marine engineering in Regional Maritime University. You go through the same procedure every single student in Ghana goes through to obtain a scholarship in Ghana. It is difficult if you are from Regional Maritime University to gain these scholarships.
Right.
Looking at the cost of maritime education.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So why not have a designated structure within the maritime space where the money is coming from? I would want to say that the maritime space contributes a greater amount of money to the economy of the country. So why won't we have scholarships from, let's say, GPHA, scholarship from GMA, scholarship from Ghana Shippers Authority, purposely for students who are coming to Regional Maritime University, just like the way the Ghana Gas is doing for students who are going to Ghana Gas and GMPC, or students who are reading petroleum engineering and those kind of courses. We can have same for students of Regional Maritime University. Let's take a project that students are embarking on. Earlier, there was this partnership between, I think, Technip FMC and then Regional Maritime University Marine Engineering Department, where students are engaging in final year projects. The Technip brings a challenge from their industry. Then students take it up as project work
to resolve.
Exactly, to resolve it and find solutions to it. This is the best practice to me. GPHA have a problem. bring it to Regional Maritime University. We let students brainstorm it, sit down, come up with ways and means to push it.
Or GPH will fund it.
GPH will fund it, exactly. Students come up with innovative ideas. There should be rooms, there should be a channel, there should be a means by which students can approach these bodies and say that we need help with such a thing because it is in line with your field of work or your area. So help us to come up with such an innovative idea and then push it forward. The channel of communication is what is needed the most. You get me? Before the funding can follow up. So let's talk about. Sabla made mention of navigational errors in the Volta Lake.
Yes.
There's this, I think, very short course that is being run by Regional Maritime University, which is Pre-C.
Okay.
Pre-C can delve into navigation, can delve into engineering aspects of going to sea, and then that has to do with navigation and then how to be able to chart your path on sea.
Yes, we'll come back to you.
All
Please, sorry to cut you that. We have Nathaniel, who is calling us from Nungwa. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for calling. Please flow,
Thank
yes.
you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. George or Mr. Steven made mention that they said something that's wrong, that they have the men, they have the men, they have the men. And I think calling on government to help these students to help bring up this innovative project. I think the school as a whole should also support the students by providing them with their project materials to be able to come up with such projects, which can help improve in the maritime industry. I think giving them this money or helping them to purchase these project materials will also help release burden on them, because for example, this Dovetail live boy, I don't think the school even invested in it, or I don't think the school even helped the students to help purchase the materials needed to develop this Dovetail live boy. And this is not cool at all. Or let me say, this is not easy for a student, or some for some groups you see that there are 3 or 4. Some you can see that there are only 2 students there, and you can see that sometimes asking for money from their parents is very, 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 very difficult. You can't tell your man today you buy this, tomorrow the price goes up. Sometimes you have to go to a project site where you have to buy things in dollars. Some will tell you $20. Tomorrow when you go, it's $25. Some photos like this. So the school, I'm also saying that the school should also help to support that students or help support the students in purchasing their project materials to be able to develop those their projects to help improving them.
Right. Thank you very much, Nathaniel, for your call and your suggestion. You want to, Mr. Obing, you want to perhaps proffer some response to?
Yes.
That the RMU itself should at least be able to support you.
So what we are saying here is that the RMU also has its own policies of founding, project works.
Yes.
We have some channel that you have to go through. Yes, before your project. The school has that policy there. Yes, but what we are saying is that we want a lot of partnership with the industry to partner with us.
Yes.
In terms of such project, I said earlier on, when you go outside there, the industry brings their works, then the students will research on it, get the funding for them, and get everything that's, the solutions to them, and then they will go and implement. So what we are saying here is that we have identified the problems relating to the maritime industry.
Right.
And we have come out with innovative ideas. So what we are saying is that we need funding and sponsors so that we can even enter into the market, where we can come out with this Dovetail live boy. We come out with, real-time Dovetail live boy, where it will be in mass production. We have fiber boats. Yes, they have seen it. It shouldn't end there. Yes, we need so that it can also create employment. So NGOs, other stakeholders can come in and support these ideas. Then the student can also gain employment right from the project that they have done.
Yes.
Because going through that process within a year, at least they have gotten some experience yes, that they can implement all that and go into mass production, so
Right.
that they will also not finish and then go and add up to the unemployment, how do you call, numbers that we have in the country. So that is what we are saying, that we need industrial partnership where
Right.
people will come in and say, okay, this is what, or this is the problem that we have, solve it for us. Yes, then we will come out with that innovative ideas based on the things that we have been doing and what have been going on in our classrooms and all that. They can
Right.
come out and solve the problems. Yes, so that is what we are saying. But the
Okay.
institution also has its own process in acquiring, how do you call it,
Right.
funding for such projects. But sometimes the project, the demand, okay, and the money involved,
Yes.
they can't, as my, how do you call it, brother said, the maritime education itself is quite expensive. So if you don't get support outside there, the school alone cannot be able to support such
Right.
agenda. So we need people, yes,
Okay.
just to partner with us and then
All right.
resolve that.
I understand we have our last caller on the line. Joshua is also calling us from Lungwa. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, boss.
Yes, please shoot.
I'm enjoying the discussion because I did my master's in. I do my master's in. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
I did my hello.
We can hear you.
I did my master's at the Maritime University. Import and administration.
Ports and shipping administration. Okay.
I've seen what they are talking about. But the school itself, I think it is about regional maritime. I don't know why all the countries do not support the school. So I also suggest that the government of Ghana or they should try to organize programs or call the sister countries to let the regional maritime university prosper, because we need more. Because if you see what they are talking about, even the maritime.
Hello, Josh. I think we've lost Joshua. We're grateful to you. I think he is, in essence, alluding to some of the things that you have said here. He says he himself has done his master's there at the RMU. Yes, you want to come in briefly because we have barely 2 minutes to wrap up.
I would like to add on what Mr. George just said.
Yes.
The maritime education itself is very expensive. But Regional Maritime on its own came up with some scholarship schemes for students. And they are doing well. I think it was launched this year.
Okay.
It is a starting point. What we are talking about is we need external sponsors.
Okay.
They need to come in because the school itself has started it. And so we need external sponsors to come in and then look at what Regional Maritime itself is doing to solve problems in the maritime space.
Right. Yes. Okay. Sure. Yes, quickly. If I know you've been yelling to make a point, just 1 minute and then we wrap up.
Yeah, so in addition to what my brother Joseph Sabla was saying, I was actually going to talk about the scholarship drive that is being run by Regional Maritime University. It was launched just last year,
right.
And I would like to urge people out there who would want to read any program in marine engineering or nautical science in the Regional Maritime University to come on board, and then there's scholarship for students as well.
Right.
That notwithstanding, I would want to push this message to the Ghana Maritime Authority.
Right.
The Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, the Ghana Shippers Authority, and then the Maritime Enclave.
Yeah.
That they should support the Regional Maritime University. Ghana Maritime Authority is embarking on this year. This is going to embark on Go to Sea program. I mean, advertising the sea as a profession to students, to prospective university students out there.
Right.
They are going to add up to the masses in Regional Maritime University. But then, what are we doing to improve their lives? We should render support, and mainly it's financial support, and also help students who want to study outside the country or take the various works they are doing in school further.
Right.
Let's help them. That's my point.
Awesome. All right, so that was Alex Kojo Abayatai, who is SRC president for the Regional Maritime University. Also in the studios has been George Obing, graduate assistant, Regional Maritime University, and indeed Joseph Yao Sabla, student, Regional Maritime University. We also had on the line Captain Francis Kwesi Maika, who is the harbour master for the Port of Tema, helping us digest this particular topic of supporting local maritime innovations for sustainable development. We say big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. Remember, the show is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and the abridged version will be shown on Ghana Television on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Make a date and watch that. My name is Kennedy Mona. We would leave you in the safe hands of the rest of the team that will take up the rest of the programs for tonight on Metro TV. And we wish you a very super week ahead and have a wonderful evening. Good evening.